Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Friday edition of Source 16 News. I'm Eddie Owen. Thanks for joining us. A Livingston County man has been captured in Marshall County after being on the run from police for nearly 2 weeks. Around 9 o'clock last night, state police arrested 28-year-old Don Brailsford at 4340 Old Olive Road in Benton after receiving a tip that he was possibly staying at the residence. Brailsford was charged with manufacturing methamphetamine, possession of a controlled substance, possession of marijuana and drug paraphernalia, criminal mischief, and second-degree escape. Police also arrested the resident, 22-year-old Jessica Powell, for harboring a fugitive. On March 18th, Brailsford escaped from police after troopers executed arrest warrants at a home at 183 McGuire Road in Ledbetter and found an active meth lab. Police arrested 5 individuals, including Brailsford, who had outstanding warrants from Graves and McCracken counties. While being transported to jail, Brailsford told police he was becoming ill, and the officer pulled over on Clarks River Road at James Marine and rolled down the rear window just in case he became sick. Now, sometime during the transport, state police say Brailsford was able to bring his cuffed hands to the front of his body and opened the rear door from the outside vehicle handle and jumped out. Police say he ran towards the floodwater of the Clark River and jumped in. Additional agencies responded to the scene but were unable to locate him until last night. A Marshall County man has been charged with possessing child pornography. Investigators from Attorney General Jack Conway's Cybercrimes Unit arrested and charged 42-year-old James Todd Hill of Gilbertsville with 4 counts of possession of matter portraying a sexual performance by a minor. After an investigation conducted by the Cybercrimes Unit, a search warrant was executed at Bill's home on Wednesday, where investigators found evidence of child porn. Hill was taken to the Marshall County Jail, where he was later released after posting a $7,000 bond. Firefighters responded to a house fire east of Benton early this morning. Palma Bryensburg Fire Chief Jason Lubker told Source 16 no one was home when the kitchen area caught fire at a 2-story single-family home on Highway 68 East, about 3 miles east of Draffinville, around 6:30 this morning. Lubker said the home suffered fire damage to the kitchen and smoke damage throughout the rest of the house, but luckily no one was hurt. Crews battled that blaze for about 6 hours. Last night's Tea Party Candidates Forum brought more than the usual political crowd. Over 100 people from local Amish and Mennonite communities attended to meet and greet at the James E. Bruce Convention Center with one thing and one topic on their minds: legalizing midwifery in Kentucky. Governor candidates Gatewood Galbraith, Bobby Holesclaw, and Phil Moffitt answered questions from the panel, including from the audience as a panel, including how they would use their position as governor to help make midwifery legal.
It should be a reasonable certification process, and there's no reason why we can't do that in Kentucky. This is another example where local control over things is much better than centralized control. When you have centralized control, you end up with organizations like the American Medical Association and so forth, trying to make sure people don't get into their territory and take business away from them.
Meanwhile, other topics candidates were asked about were including making Kentucky more business-friendly, smaller government, and allowing corporations to seize private property for public use. Other candidates running for different seats were also available for questions, including candidate for Agriculture Commissioner Rob Rothenberger, State Auditor candidate John Kemper III, and Secretary of State candidates Bill Johnson of Elkton and Hilda Legg. A local workforce training force is being forced to halt all training, which will affect over 400 customers. For the last 10 years, the West Kentucky Workforce Investment Board has provided training for many dislocated workers and adults needing training assistance across Western Kentucky. But Executive Director of the WKWIB, Sheila Clark, recently had to tell over 400 customers they will not get the training they need this summer.
They do not have additional funding to give us for the summer, so those individuals that are involved will have to suspend their training for the summer months. We don't really know for sure who would like to continue in summer until summer classes start. But some of the private schools start terms next week that made us have to go ahead and give a notice to the individuals involved.
The training programs will be halted until July 1st when Congress acts on the next fiscal year budget.
It was 100% federal funds that comes through the state of Kentucky, through the Education and Workforce Development Cabinet to us. And they do have some funds available in Frankfort that could be directed to this, but they made a decision right now not to direct it to this need.
The board provides program services through the Purchase and Pennyrile Area Development Districts throughout the 17 counties of western Kentucky. 3 of Murray State University's graduate programs were recently recognized in the 2011 Best Graduate Schools by U.S. News and World Report. MSU's nursing, nurse and anesthesia, and speech language and pathology programs were cited in the report. MSU is the only Kentucky regional university to offer a nurse anesthesia option. Well, domestic violence victims have one less thing to worry about thanks to Fort Campbell social workers. Throughout March, social workers collected hundreds of diapers, school supplies, and personal hygiene products and donated the items to Hopkinsville Sanctuary and Montgomery County's Safe House. In addition, the social workers held a 4th annual Social Work Walk and Fun Run March 29th at Blanchfield Army Community Hospital to help raise awareness about domestic violence. According to Lieutenant Colonel Allison Fellner, we're all in this together, and by having common goals, purpose, and possibility, we can make a positive difference in the lives of soldiers and their families. Blacktopping bids have been awarded for projects in Christian and Muhlenberg counties. The State Transportation Cabinet awarded Rogers Group, based in Hopkinsville, the Hopkinsville Bypass Project at a bid of over $482,000. Road Builders and Parkway Construction of Greenville was awarded the US 431 project at a bid of over $262,000. Both projects are expected to begin in May, weather permitting. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet will focus on work zone safety next week, with events scheduled across the state. Spokesman Keith Todd says an incident on I-24 in Christian County Thursday morning provided a good reminder of why motorists have to be alert in work zones. A highway crew was using a rolling lane restriction along the eastbound lanes of I-24 to patch potholes when near the Tennessee-Kentucky state line, a car ran into a crash cushion truck designed to protect workers. Fortunately, Todd said no one was injured. After everyone was deemed safe and police conducted an investigation, transportation crews resumed their pothole work. According to Todd, crews say the 2 big problems they noticed Thursday were motorists waiting until the last minute to merge over in the work zone and failure to reduce driving speed. He says a number of work zone safety events are planned over the next few weeks and notes a couple of reasons for motorists to use extra caution. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says the #1 cause of workplace fatalities in the United States is transportation mishaps, which includes workers struck by vehicles or mobile equipment. 677 people were killed in work zones across America in 2009. More than 40,000 were injured in work zones. Todd reports that's a fatality every 13 hours with an injury every 13 minutes, and the vast majority of the victims are motorists. In addition to the extra emphasis on work zone safety across the state, National Work Zone Safety Week is also next week. A Madisonville man was flown to an Indiana hospital after a single vehicle wreck in Hopkins County yesterday. 44-year-old Jason Brown was flown to St. Mary's Hospital in Evansville for treatment around 5:25 p.m. after Kentucky State Police say his vehicle ran off Brown Road about 2 miles east of Madisonville and crashed into a tree. No further details on that. Traffic had to be rerouted in Fulton yesterday afternoon after a tractor trailer overturned and spilled a load of fertilizer onto the road. According to state police, 42-year-old Mark Thomas of Benton was driving east on Kentucky 166 near Kentucky 781 around 4:15 p.m. when his rear trailer tire dropped off the edge of the road. Thomas overcorrected, causing his load of fertilizer to shift, which caused the tractor trailer to overturn and spill its load. State police say Thomas was not injured and refused medical treatment, but Kentucky 166 was closed for over 4 hours while crews cleaned up the fertilizer. Today is Arbor Day across the Commonwealth, and First Lady Jane Bashir joined the Division of Forestry in commemorating Kentucky's 115th annual event. by planting an American hornbeam on the grounds of the governor's mansion. Governor Steve Beshear proclaimed today as Arbor Day in the state, continuing the tradition of observing the first Friday in April as Kentucky's Arbor Day. The First Lady noted the importance of celebrating Arbor Day in the Commonwealth's communities. She says Arbor Day is a reminder that we need to protect and properly care for our trees because of the benefits they provide, like shading our city streets and sidewalks and saving on energy cost. Many other Arbor Day events are planned throughout the state this month. Schools, communities, and organizations throughout the Commonwealth often hold their own Arbor Day ceremonies to highlight the social, environmental, and economic benefits of trees. Well, the Army is changing hats again, and they'll be adopting a dark blue Stetson as the official headgear for 1.1 million soldiers starting next year. Representatives from Fort Campbell were among other military officials around the world to approve of the Stetson hat. Army Uniform Board Headgear Task Force President Sergeant Major Bob Stone says, "We figure the Stetson will be popular with the troops. It's been a while since we have changed the headgear, so it's time. Plus, a Stetson hat is functional." Officials say there will be some restrictions on how soldiers wear the Stetson hats. General officer Stetsons will be black and must have a flat brim, while other soldiers wearing the Stetson will be allowed any combination of opposing but matching curls of the side brims. In addition, officials say no single side flapping of any portion of the brim will be allowed. The Army will officially adopt the Stetson hat as their new headgear April 1st, 2012. A Lyon County man has been arrested by Kentucky State Police after he allegedly torched his vehicle and then tried to collect an insurance claim. After a 3-month investigation by state police, 21-year-old Richard Thompson Jr. of Catawba was charged with second-degree arson and fraudulent insurance acts over $500. State police say Thompson allegedly set fire to his 2002 Lincoln LS on December 28th and then filed an insurance claim. Thompson was lodged in the Caldwell County Jail on a $15,000 bond and was released last night. State police were assisted in the investigation by the State Fire Marshal's Office and the Lyon County Sheriff's Office. Well, tonight's Mega Millions jackpot, it's just a measly $19 million, but hey, tomorrow your Powerball jackpot, $187 million.